Welcome to the most incredible marketing show ever. The show where each week a panel of respected marketing strategists, all trained and certified by the legendary Dan Kennedy, share their wisdom, experience, strategies, and insights on how to use Dan Kennedy's philosophy on business and marketing in any type of business, and that you can apply to your business immediately. Here's your host, Craig Valine.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the most incredible marketing show ever. I'm your host, Craig Valine, and with me today is my friends and my expert panel of certified Dan Kennedy independent business advisors. You know, from time to time, we get questions from our listeners, which are, quite frankly, frequently asked questions. I mean, I have heard them many times, but this is a good place to answer them. And so there are businesses that are just beginning. There are businesses in the middle of their success and at the peak of their success who do not use testimonials. So one of the questions is, what are some effective ways to gather and use testimonials to build credibility and trust with potential customers? So Mark, let's start with you. What do you do?
Sure. Well, obviously use testimonials as much as possible, but I feel that they have to be guided. So you have to have like the testimonial has to tell the right story which is going to start with like a challenge. It's the old hero story. What was the challenge? What were the obstacles that they faced? How did that, challenge make you feel? So typically I have a formula that I use that I help coach my clients with, or if I need a testimonial, I basically have a little framework that I put them through, and the answers to like some simple questions will stitch together the perfect testimonial. I'm happy to share if anyone's open to that.
Please share.
Okay. So
hanging on.
The first question I'll ask them is first, state your name and your business or where you're from, whatever's applicable to your field. And then I'll say, what was your absolute biggest challenge that you were gripping with before we met? And then I'd say, link to that. How did that challenge make you feel? Because you want that testimonial to be emotional, to really let them know how that made them feel. Then I'll say like, hey, what changed after we started working together? Or specifically, what did we do that changed? And how did you feel about that? And then I'll say, hey, did you have any specific results that you can share? Because if they can share any specific results, that's terrific. And then I'd say, hey, if you were talking to somebody else that was considering working with me, but were on the fence, what would you tell them? And then that gets like them to give their, and then the last thing I'll always say is, hey, before we wrap up, anything else you want to add? And you'd be shocked to find that just little extra question gets them to like open the floodgates of really cool things that they'll say about you that they were more robotic and, rigid in the beginning. But that's really the framework, because it tells, that journey from the challenge to overcoming obstacles to the results that were achieved and how it made them feel. And what would you tell somebody else about working with me? That's the formula.
That's very cool. Good. Steve, what do you have to say about that?
Well, I'm going to start with, I'm going to answer the question, but I'm going to start with why you should use testimonials as much as you can in your marketing. Because I've heard pushback on this over the years, but people saying like, testimonial, like, I never watch testimonial videos, or I don't believe what anyone else says. Well, number one, you are not necessarily your prospect, so maybe you don't believe them, or you don't like them, or what. It doesn't mean that people are watching and listening. In fact, the facts are overwhelming that people love reviews on Amazon, that people read those before they buy a thing. Dan has a saying, what other people say about you is 1,000 times more powerful than what you say about yourself. I mean, I read the Amazon page of like, or any, page of any, it's the greatest this, and it does this, and it'll do this and stuff. Let me go to the reviews. I always go to the reviews. Do I know these people? No. Could they have been paid? Could they have been all employees? Could they be? Yeah. What I go to the reviews. Okay, people tell me all the time on my website, oh man, you have a lot of success. I don't know if they pressed play on any of the videos. I don't know if they read any, but sometimes you have what's called the thud factor. Like there's just so many of them. Or sometimes they can spot one or two of somebody they know, who they trust. And they go, well, I've done that. I don't know if other people have, but I bought something. I said, well, if I see Richelle Shaw gave a testimonial about, I'm like, well, if Richelle says that thing is worth buying, then like that's good enough for me. So they work. So number one, you got to use them. So you're asking, how do you collect them? If you don't have them already. So I remember I took a job, and for 3.5 years I worked for Yellow Pages publisher. I was consulting with advertisers on their advertising in the Yellow Pages. And I realized that I need to put together a sheet of testimonials. I got a Dan Kennedy program on this. I was about a year into being a rep, and he was like, now include a page of testimonials with this letter. And I'm like, oh, you just throw that out there, Dan, as if like I have a page of testimonials. I'm a Yellow Pages rep. Come on now. But I was like, hey, you know what? I got to gather this. I got to get it. So I went back to all the couple of hundred people I dealt with in the last year with the Yellow Pages advertising, and I ran a contest. So that's my answer, how to gather them. You can run a contest. So I rewarded people, and I gave the 2 levels of rewards that Dan suggests. I believe I got it from Dan in a contest, is you reward, or maybe it was from Bill Glazer. You reward everybody just for entering the contest, because those are the people who think my story isn't that good enough to win the award for best testimonial. So I said, I'm going to have a drawing also. Everyone that just gives me any testimonial is going to be in the drawing. And I give away 2 prizes. And I got a flood of responses, like 20 people sending in great stuff. Well, Steve is a this and a that, and he's the greatest rep I ever had. He cares more about your business if it's his own. And I still use some of those to this day. I gathered all of those by giving away like $100 worth of $50 dinner certificate, another $50 whatever. And like I gathered tens of hundreds of thousands of dollars in the long run worth of testimonials for $100 in a contest. And I got not only my page of testimonials, I got a 2-sided thing of testimonials. I was off and running. So if you haven't gotten them yet, run a contest, reward people for giving you the testimonials, but by all means, get them and use them.
Very good. Richelle, what's your thoughts on testimonials and how to get them?
Sure. I love testimonials. Of course, in my telephone business, I used to arm my staff with, I'm really going to date myself, but we used to have the flip camera. You remember that camera that it popped out and you could just stick it in your computer. So there was one sitting at the front that anytime somebody said, they were excited about us, they were happy about us when they first signed up, right? That's the best time to get, number one, a referral, but also a testimonial, right? Because you are solving their problem right now. They're excited. They just paid you. So they want to say great things about you. That story was actually featured in Entrepreneur Magazine. But it's that video camera that I kept at the front that helped us just get testimonial after testimonial after testimonial. The reason behind it is this. The 2 reasons why people don't want to buy is, number one, they don't believe it's going to work, right? And number 2 is they don't believe it's going to work for them. So what your testimonials do is it fixes the number one problem, that it works, right? If they see that it works for other people, they go, hey, now they still say, but I don't know. It may work for Mark and Steve because they're already Dan Kennedy guys. They're already, Craig, but wait a minute. But as soon as they see someone who looks like them, they go, well, So you always want to make sure in your testimonials that you have a variety of people, right? So all shapes and sizes, all colors and sizes, every crayon in the crayon box if you can, every different type of client that you have, to make sure that anyone coming up says, hey, that's me. Hey, that's me. And if it worked for Craig, then it has to work for me. So I will give them a chance, right? So it just moves your potential prospect closer and closer and closer to saying, yes, I want to buy what you got. Yeah.
I love that. And that's a great point. I'm going to add to that also different circumstances. So if they do press play on the video, then they hear somebody that says, I was brand new to the area. Then they hear the next one says, I've been living here 20 years. The next one says, I have 4 kids. I have no kids. I'm retired. I just started working. So all the different circles, so they can find someone who looks like them and or in a similar circumstance. gets them over that crucial, as Richelle pointed out, that crucial second question, but will it work for me? So testimonials are huge. You got to use them.
Right. So let me ask you a question. Imagine a business does not have a lot of business yet, meaning they just opened. What other types of testimonials can be given in lieu of, I've been doing business with this company for years? What other types of testimonials can be used? Mark?
Yeah, I love that question because there's two parts to this. The first thing I would do is I would use that as an opportunity to gather these testimonials by making a special offer. And perhaps that special offer is, hey, I'm taking 5 or 10 new clients to do this proprietary method to get case studies. And for that, I'm going to give you this special value. So now you're already getting permission to get case studies and from this new group of customers. All right. And then what you do in the meantime is you can share publicly known stories about why that method that you deploy works. Maybe there are celebrities. Michael Jordan used the hoopty hoopty method, and this is what the result he got. And all these celebrities use the same methodology or type of technology or whatever it is that you're doing. Use publicly known people as case studies and information while you're gathering your own. And then you start stacking the cool and start adding your testimonials from the first batch of clients or customers that you get to work with.
That's great. Steve?
That's a great point. And if you sell products or services from a supplier, you can use testimonials from users of that product or service from that supplier. So you just, if you're a heating and air guy and you're brand new, your first day in business, you're putting up your website, well, go to Carrier or whoever of heating and air and say, I need to just go to their website. I need testimony. Hey, the Carrier runs smooth and quiet and cools the house. Boom. And as Mark said, you can start with the others. When I started my Dan Kennedy group, I started with general Dan Kennedy testimonials from the whole world of Dan Kennedy superstars. Like, I got this from Dan Kennedy and I got this and I get, but over time you gather your own and you replace those, then suddenly they're all about you. But yeah, if they start out, just get them in general.
This episode of The Most Incredible Marketing Show Ever is sponsored by Chuck Troutman, the $600 million man. If you're looking to grow your sales and, more importantly, your profits, now is the time to work with someone who has been responsible for $600 million in sales for himself and his clients. Get your free guide, Entertain Your Way to Profits, at www.chucktroutman.com. That's www.chucktroutman.com. Now.
Right. How about you, Richelle?
Yeah, or get somebody to just talk about you even in another setting. Right. So if you are a sales guy before you opened up your own business, you can still get testimonials of them saying, hey, as a sales guy, he took care of me. Right. You don't have to say when he worked for. Just omit that piece. And still you can have testimonials. Go to your pastor, go to your trusted advisors, go to people who know your integrity, because that's what people really want to know about, right? Like it's kind of like I always say, vegetables. Okay, if you are getting vegetables, number one, we know that vegetables are great for you. So of course, one's grown in your backyard with their own soil and the compost that you got from the local thing that'll work. Those are the best vegetables, right? But a can of vegetables, which on the scale of vegetables is the worst vegetable that you could actually eat with no nutrients, is better than a cheeseburger, right? So when you think about testimonials or no testimonials, okay, no testimonials is the damn cheeseburger. A testimonial from your pastor or from a teacher, your professor, is the can of vegetables. It's still better than none. So then you just get better. And I wrote down what Mark said, because this is always a seminar in a box, right? He said, then you stack the cool, right? I'm stealing that, by the way. I'm telling you publicly so that everybody knows. Then you stack the cool and you put in your own as you start to get better and better and better, so that now they are custom for you, right? Because the 100% one that's going to work the best is a case study that has a hero journey, that where we can get somebody crying in the beginning. Damn it, that's going to close way more things for you. But where is that going to come from in the beginning?
Right. That just reminded me is that there are some people who say, I don't even know where to start on getting testimonials. Mark, you gave a great one on case studies. You just mentioned get it when they're emotional. One of my specialty dentist clients, when he does it, he will see them going, oh my God, my smile, my God, I have a smile. My teeth are all perfect now. Thank you so much. Thank you, doctor. Thank you, doctor. He goes, hey, wait a minute. Would you mind doing a little quick testimonial for me? It might help others who are on the fence on getting their teeth fixed. Would you do that for me? And then he just pops out his phone, and those are the best, right? So what are some other ways that we can ask for testimonials without making it difficult for the other person to give the testimonial? So Steve, let's start with you.
Well, one thing you could do is Mark mentioned you can give them a special offer. You can give them something for free.
Yeah.
I know Richelle just came out with a new book, and she's going to say, I'll give you a free copy of the book if you just promise to give me your honest feedback about it. Boom. Now, of course, I guess it's possible that somebody's feedback might be negative. I can't even think of that, but I'm just going to, I guess.
About my book? What?
I'm going to say, I guess it's somehow different. It's so impossible for me to say it's possible. But what's much more likely is 99% chance all of them come back and give you positive feedback. And those are the ones you use. So you can say, I'm just starting out as a heating and air guy. I will,
Free filter.
put in the new heating and air unit at just pay for you, just buy the unit. I'll do my labor for free because I'm just starting out, and in return, I'm going to turn on the camera when I'm done. And I just want you to honestly say what the experience was like. Would you do that for me? Who's going to say no to that? I'm
Right.
just going to pay for the unit. And it's going to be professionally installed, sure. And then, of course, as I think Richelle pointed out, now that they've just experienced it, they're in the most heightened emotional state they're going to be. They're going to be gushing about you. You tell them, like, don't include that I did it for free. Just say how you're feeling. Well, they're going to feel extra special now you did that thing for free. But that's one way to do it. Give out a free product or service in the beginning when you're just starting out, and tell people I'm doing this because I need feedback so I can help others to pay me money for this. Would you do that? You're going to get people to say yes. You're going to get testimonials.
Mark, how about you? Other than the case study idea, which was brilliant, what other recommendation can you give?
Sure, I'll give you something tactical. I always say that you put the testimonial gathering somewhere in your process. So
Right.
with me, I'll give you an example. It's in my delivery process. When you've delivered the service or the product that I have a call where I'm going to do a podcast interview with my client to glorify them on the podcast and to help promote the product that we help them create. In this case, it's a book. So it's helping them because you're now giving them a video that they can use that's going to be aimed at their audience and telling them why their book is amazing and why they should read the book and where to go get it. And that acts like that book trailer for them, and they can put that and use that for years to come. Now, right after we do that, I'll stop the recording there. And that's the perfect timing for you to ask because you just gave them value, huge value. They're appreciative. They're glowing now. And that is another great time to ask something for yourself. And that triggers that whole reciprocation. And then go through that script that I mentioned earlier on the episode about gathering that testimonial.
Yeah, that's very smart. One of the pieces of advice I want to give, I did 2 large events here in Pasadena. Richelle spoke at one of them, and we did really well on gathering testimonials at the end of that event, that first event. Second event, I had someone who was very close to me, who I love dearly, bring people into the room to do testimonials. What I didn't, and she's a marketer to a degree, she understands what we do and why we do it. But I said, get testimonials on me and then get testimonials about the event. Well, she missed that. She just let people just talk, and all they could talk about was all the other speakers, and they never mentioned me at all. And so I couldn't use any of the testimonials at all. And I never did that event again. So it was a waste of an opportunity. And,
It's
so
never
make sure,
wasted. It's never wasted.
well,
Everything
it was
comes out.
wasted for what I needed them for, what I wanted them
Yes.
for.
Yes.
So make sure you train whomever you're asking to gather your testimonials, what you're looking for, give them specific questions, help them get that person in the proper state of mind to be able to answer those questions as well.
I'll second that. I learned that lesson at the end of my chapter meetings. I would have one of my assistant leaders, whatever, have a backdrop with the logo of the group and have them take the testimony, put the camera on the tripod. And then I remember watching them and going like, I can't use these.
Right.
They're all the same. There are 20 people going, I had a great time, took a lot of notes, got a lot of great ideas.
Right.
Yeah.
They all said that.
Yes.
So I love Mark's framework. I realized I had to coach them what questions to ask to get that story, that hero's journey, as Mark put it, as Dan taught us, to get that out of it. Like, well, what were your feelings before you came?
Right.
Oh, well, I thought it was just going to be like any other meeting, or it was too far to drive, or it was not going to be it was wasting my time. I was going to have better things to do. And so now what's your feeling after you? Oh, well, now I was totally wrong. It's the greatest meeting ever been. Aha. So you can't just, as Craig said, you can't just roll the camera and go, please talk, give me a testimonial. It's going to be we're not trained as buyers. We're not trained as human beings. I mean, everyone here, I have a feeling we give fantastic testimonials because we're fantastic at giving them. And so now we give them, we're fantastic at getting them. I mean, but people, regular people, your customers, your clients, your patients, your members, don't assume that they're going to give you an excellent, that they're not a Hollywood actor who does commercials. They don't know how to give a testimony, and even they need a script. So have a framework.
No, with that, Steve, I think that they think that they're supposed to be a Hollywood actor, right? And those are the worst testimonials. Like the people who go, oh, okay, hi, stop, don't sell me. I can sell me, right? I don't need you to sell me. Here's what I need you to do. So one of the things that we do for clients is we will create a survey, right, from us and say, we are doing a survey of the clients and of the particular of what they do, and we want to know about you. So the first part is easy part, right? Tell us your name, what's your age, and tell us, why did you decide to use the client? Did you find him in the yellow pages and you just picked? Like, what made him stand out, right? And then they have all of these questions that we lead them down the journey that we want them to go. Like, what was your first objection? Why did you almost not pick him, right? What made you, when you first got there, what was your first impression? All of these things that are going to both invoke the feeling, but also give a better answer. So that now when they send them back in, right, which we give them an envelope, postage paid, by the way, so that it doesn't cost them anything to mail it back to us. But it's all filled out in their handwriting. So one of my clients, we just had the book on it was a doctor. So when they came into the actual practice, the book was sitting on the table, on the coffee table with the other, magazines. But by the way, it was his magazine and his book, right? Don't have them reading about other freaking doctors. It's like when you're sitting in the pizza place and they're doing a pizza commercial for, Little Caesars, you can get it for $5 and you're sitting there waiting on your damn pizza and it's 35 minutes and you're hungry and you're pissed off. Like, control the environment. Hello. But in this, right? So we had this book that they could just open it up and they would go, oh my gosh. And it was the next page. Oh my gosh. Right. So we put them in plastic so that it wouldn't get ripped or whatever, but they would just sit there with nothing to do, waiting on the dock and just read testimonial after testimonial after testimonial. It worked like a charm. So you want to make sure that when you are getting testimonials, that you have a framework. Use the one that Mark just gave you. That was brilliant, right? Because you don't want a whole bunch of people saying, because they go, oh my God, Richelle's amazing. I know the fuck I'm amazing, right? I don't need you to tell me I'm amazing. I want you to say what we did for you was amazing and how it changed your life forever, ever, forever, ever. So that now people coming in can't wait to use our service.
Yeah, it's a really great point. That was another thing I had to train my assistant to encourage people not to. They all feel like at the end they were like, and you really should come to this meeting, because I'm like, no, don't tell the viewer what they should do. Just tell them what it did for you. Tell them why you came or why you bought from me or whatever. Don't think you have to go on and tell everybody else why they should come.
Unfortunately, we have to wrap up this episode. But if you want to continue this discussion with Steve, Mark, or Richelle, or myself, please reach out to us. We have a free gift for our listeners at mostincrediblemarketingshowever.com. Please try. There's a free gift from everybody here on this panel, as well as previous panelists. And we have new episodes every Thursday. You can see past episodes at youtube.com/@mostincrediblemarketingshowever. No, @mostincrediblemarketingshow. Read the screen. youtube.com/@mostincrediblemarketingshow. Thank you so much for being here and listening to this episode. Thank you for my expert guests. I appreciate you all. I love you. We'll see you on the next episode. Thanks.
Thank you for joining us this week on The Most Incredible Marketing Show Ever. New episodes are available every week on Thursdays. To receive a free gift pack from our expert panelists and get access to show notes from previous episodes, be sure to visit our website, www.mostincrediblemarketingshowever.com. If you're watching this on YouTube, please hit the subscribe button and click the bell up in the right-hand corner to be notified of future episodes so you'll never miss a show. While you're at it, if you found value in this show, we'd appreciate you clicking the like button and leaving a comment on what big aha you got during the show. That's it for today's episode. See you next week.